This is how the Premier League looks after this weekend's action. So obviously Liverpool at the top, that's not moved much. Manchester City, Leicester and then Chelsea. And this is where it gets interesting because Chelsea dropping points, Spurs made a little bit of ground and Sheffield United momentarily went up to 5th for Saturday. And then obviously with Spurs winning, went back down to 6th. But an important win for Sheffield United. We will get to them in a moment. Why don't we focus on Chelsea for a second? Because this is quite interesting with Chelsea at the moment. They have their embargo lifted. They have the chance to sign players. But they can't sign the right players. So they're now in a situation where we question whether they need another striker, but they don't have one. Tammy Abraham went off. Instead of bringing a striker on at a time of the game where perhaps you need goals, Frank Lampard brought on Ross Barkley. Michy Batshuayi was available. Giroud wasn't in the squad. Is he sending a message, do you think, to the hierarchy to say, I needed a striker, I haven't got one?
Yeah, I think so. I think Frank's was fairly openly disappointed with January. You know, I think he'd have gone in there and said to him, look, I've done an unbelievable job here. I've got you in the top 4. I've got no players. I've brought youngsters back. They've been on loan in the Championship. We're in the top 4. I need you to back me now. You know, I need a striker. I need an attacking midfielder. He said at the start of the window, we need extra creativity. If we want to stay in the top 4, we need some more resources. And they haven't backed him for whatever reason, whether they couldn't get the right one, whether they weren't willing to pay over the odds, whatever it may be. I think the window puts their top 4 place in real jeopardy. I think Spurs had a better window than them, and I think Chelsea will struggle to hang on to that 4th spot now.
I don't know whether it would have been a bit of Lampard being disappointed he couldn't bring in a striker, or Lampard thinking, I need a striker, but I don't want to upset Tammy Abraham. You know, he relies a lot on Tammy Abraham. He's worked with him at Derby last year. You know, there's a relationship there, clearly. And I know they were going for Dries Martins from Napoli, who's got 6 months left on his contract. They haven't replaced Hazard, that creativity, I think that's quite clear. So maybe he was sending out a message, but at the same time, I don't know whether Lampard is ready to upset that squad that look like they really play for him and he's got the trust of his players.
There was another decision that people were quite interested in, Paul, and it was the fact that he didn't play Kepa. Out of favour, it seems, for whatever reason. Do you think they've got problems in that area?
If you had said to me about 5 weeks ago, I'd have said no. I thought Kepa was good. He has had a bad time. I think he's made a big decision. I think that's probably one of his biggest decisions since he's been a manager in football, if I'm being honest. Willy Caballero made a mistake, you know, which you know probably does when you change the goalies. But he's a decent person to come in. I know he made a mistake. He's probably too keen. He ain't played for a while. Yeah. I'm all right with Chelsea at the moment. I'm all right with Chelsea. They've got 2 big games coming up, Man United and Tottenham at home. If they win both of them, for me, they'll finish in the top 4. I'd rather, you know, you've got to remember it was only 4 or 5 weeks ago they were ripping Tottenham to shreds at Tottenham's ground. So, you know, I think they'll be all right. You know, 2 or Leicester. I think Frank was a bit nervous. He's lost a few tight games this season when they shouldn't have lost. They dominated that game against Leicester for long periods in that game and could have lost it in the end. So I think the next 2 home games are the ones. If they don't win both of them, and then I think they're in major trouble for top 4. If they win both of them, I think the only ones who could catch them then will probably be Wolves.
What would you do with the Kepa situation? Because there's some stats here that might interest you a little bit. He's got the lowest percentage of saves for shots faced, bar Angus Gunn, who obviously hasn't played as many games in the Premier League. His save percentage is 56%. I don't need to tell you that. A couple of shots and you're probably going to score one. Alisson's save percentage is 87, just to give you an idea of comparison. Is there a real problem with Kepa?
I'm not a massive fan of his. I think he's a decent goalkeeper, obviously, but I think for the money he paid, if you're comparing him to Alisson or Ederson, I don't think he's in that league. I see some goals go in where I just think he's not made a massive mistake, but I think a top goalie would have saved that. You know, like the Arsenal one where Bellerin comes in on his left foot and curls it in. It goes right in the corner, but it's not gone very fast. I just think that the Liverpool and Man City goalies saved them. So I'm not a massive fan of Kepa, but the problem I have with it is I don't think Caballero's any better, really. So why are you dropping him? Are you dropping him just to send him a message and say, look, you need to play better, otherwise I'm going to leave you out? Because I don't think it's for the better of the team dropping him, if I'm honest.
I think when Frank Lampard was asked in his press conference, it was almost like a sly dig at Kepa. He said, oh, Caballero's a real good professional. And I read it as, well, maybe he's alluding to the fact that Kepa isn't. And, you know, we know Kepa's, he had that incident with Sarri last year, really unprofessional. So,
Carabao Cup final.
Yeah, so I think, for me, it seems as if maybe there's a bit of a clash of personalities there, because you don't really just drop a goalkeeper. There must be a bit more behind it. But unfortunately, Caballero's not that much better, and he made a mistake as well.
You mentioned Wolves about somebody.
You know what? I was a bit disrespectful on Sheffield United.
I was just about to pull you up on that.
But no, I do think. I think Sheffield. Don't get me wrong. I think Sheffield United have done great, but I still think Wolves have got every chance. I mean, Sheffield United. I mean, seriously.
They've done amazing.
Amazing.
They were 11th in League One three and a half years ago. You know, I mean, they've done an amazing job.
Amazing, honestly. But you know, if you're going to ask me over the next 11, 12 games, if they keep on doing it for then, I mean, I just think Wolves have got the firepower. I think Jimenez, Jota, and Traore, my God, the most improved player ever in the history of football. I mean, them three can hurt anybody on any given day. I'm serious, he is. Yeah. I mean, did you see that last year? I didn't see that. No. I didn't see it. I mean,
the run he went on at Old Trafford where he picks it up in his own box, beat loads, and then played the pass at the right time with the outside of his foot. Perfect. He could never have done that.
Before he was running down the wing and putting balls behind the thing. We knew he could beat players, but now he's getting composure. And this is where I think this manager, I'm missing something. I miss a trick here with this manager. I just don't think he gets the credit he deserves. I think this manager, I think he's up there with the best of the business. When you're talking about Man United and they're talking about managers, I'm thinking, I don't want to sound bad to Wolves here, but I'm thinking, how are you not getting this man? I mean, this bloke's as good as anybody. I think he's one of the top managers in the world of football, in my opinion.
I think for the last few seasons, we've seen a lot of surprise packages teams. You know, Sheffield United this year, it was Wolves last year, Bournemouth a few years ago. And one thing that's very common with all of them is that they've got top managers who know how they want to play. They play a certain way. They've got the trust of their team. And it's nice to see for teams coming up from the Championship. It almost gives you hope that, you know what, you can, if you've got a right coach that knows how to set you up and knows how to play, you can stay in the Premier League and actually exceed expectation.
I thought they would struggle this season. I thought Sheffield United, I thought they would struggle. I did, because centre halves go on overlaps, they end up in the box, and I'm thinking, next season you're just going to get picked off for fun in the Premier League. But everybody knows what they're doing. If he goes, someone drops back in, and it's like clockwork. You never see the manager really on the side of the line shouting at players, "Go and get here and get there." They all know their jobs, and they've been an absolute credit. Do
you reckon Chris Wilder should win Manager of the Year?
You know what?
Klopp,
I mean, Klopp will probably win it because they've won every game in the world. But I think this manager's he shouldn't be far off, because you've got to remember the quality of players. You know, no disrespect, Liverpool have got 11, 15 international footballers. Sheffield United haven't. No. But it's a long season. Yeah, everybody only we'll be talking in a minute. People only remember the next half of the season. Yeah. You know, they go on a Bournemouth run, and you can in this league. It's ruthless, it's relentless, and before you know it, they can finish 13th in the league, and you'd be sitting there going, you know, Sheffield United was 6, and you go, no, I didn't know they were 6. You know, you got to wait till the end of the season, because you got to remember, Sheffield United, when they win football matches, they have to work their socks off every week. If Man City win a game, or Liverpool win a game, or even Tottenham and Arsenal and Chelsea, they could play at 70% in some football matches. Sheffield United have to go to the limit, and that's why you've got to look at them and think, wow, for this many games.
So you think they'll struggle to keep up that intensity? Because we've spoken about this before, about their fitness levels. Yeah. Pretty much the best.
I mean, this is where I've got a lot of respect for them, because, as I say, they have to do that every week. It's very rare that they can come off the pitch and the manager will go, oh, we didn't get out of second gear today, but we won 2-0.
And they can't rotate much. They're not rotating their squads. I mean, they're all playing every week.
Exactly. Unbelievable. And great manager as well. Really good.
To come up and go about it the way they have, you know, it'd be very easy to come out of the Championship, and then Chelsea comes to town or Liverpool come, and you go, oh, you know what, we're going to sit behind the ball and we'll try and nick one. And he's gone, no, we're going to play it. This is how we play. Let them worry about us. Do you know? So it's been so refreshing to come up out of the Championship and attack it the way they have.
We just mentioned about squad depth and about the Sheffield United, and you might worry. And they've made their signings. What about Manchester United? Because this weekend they played Wolves at Old Trafford. They couldn't score a goal. The striker problem is a problem. We know that Marcus Rashford's injured and Odion Ighalo wasn't available to play at the moment. But do you look at Manchester United and you fear for the rest of their season?
Yeah, because it looks pretty desperate in terms of goals. And I think, without being disrespectful, I think the signing of Ighalo is that level of desperation in terms of we just need someone who can try and put the ball in the back of the net. Obviously, they went for Josh King at Bournemouth. That didn't happen. But even Josh King, going for Josh King, he's only scored 3 goals this season in a poor poor season for Bournemouth. So there's a level of desperation, I think, with Man United with their goal scoring. I know Rashford's out, but there just seems to be sort of smash and grab players, and they've got Ighalo in now. Whether that's going to do anything, I don't know. But it looks pretty desperate. You
can take this back as far as if you go back to the summer, you're like, Solskjaer's saying, look, I had to let people leave because they were causing a problem.
Lukaku,
they didn't want to be here.
Sanchez.
Lukaku. So you take it back and you say, right, OK, you have to let Lukaku leave. But you don't just let him walk out when he wants. You find a replacement and you say, right, when I've found a replacement, you can go. You're not going anywhere until I've found a replacement. But for me, the Rashford injury just finishes their chances of coming in the top 4. I can't see them getting in the top 4 now Rashford's injured.
Do that?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, the Ighalo one, I mean, it's hard to judge because he's been away for 3 years or so and he scored 1 goal for Watford in his last season. This could either be the biggest laughing stock ever, or we could be sitting here thinking, wow, genius. You know, so it's a dangerous one. But who else was after him? You know, that's the problem.
Spurs were in for him as well. I think Inter Milan.
I mean,
I
heard Aston Villa turn him down. I don't know if that's true. That's what I heard. I don't know.
I just don't understand why Man United weren't in for a Giroud on loan or a Cavani. Like the teams that the players that other teams were going for, Man United weren't going for, and they're top players. And you know, Man United is, you know, I know their wages, they pay good wages, high wages. So it just seems like maybe Solskjaer doesn't want to go for players that have a bit of a character or personality. He wants to go for the younger players like Josh King at Bournemouth. But for me, if I was a Man United fan, I would have been sat there deadline day thinking, well, why are we not going for Giroud and all these sort of strikers that you guaranteed goals with if you sign them?